The number of parents given fines for failing to send their children to school has quadrupled to more than 200,000 under a post-COVID crackdown on truancy.
Parents have paid out an estimated £12 million for unauthorised absences. But with so many people struggling with the cost of living, should we scrap fines for a more lenient approach?
Well, someone who wholeheartedly disagrees with that idea is the maths teacher and broadcaster Bobby Seagull, who says parents should prioritise their children's education. So keep fining them if their kids aren't going to school. But blogger and former teacher Vicki Broadbent says it's ridiculous to fine parents for taking their children out of school during term time. Very good morning to you both.
Morning.
Vicki, I don't know, but I imagine that the vast majority of those who are being fined, prosecuted, are not actually taking their children out of school by choice. They might find that they're finding it hard to get their kids to school. The question is, in the middle of a cost of living crisis, are we wasting money on sending 1,700 parents to court each month or fining them?
Truly, it feels, very draconian to me as a parent and a former teacher. I mean, we've just come out of a pandemic. Yes. Travel is, it's a gift and it's also a chance to learn. And at a time when the curriculum has actually petered out, field trips, travel, what are we actually saying? And who, specifically, the important thing is, who are we penalising here? We're penalising people who can't afford to travel outside.
OK, you're talking about something very specific, which is the parents who are saying it's too expensive to take my child on holiday, therefore I'm going to risk a fine and take them out during term time.
But even if you just miss, like, a day out of that term time, the discount is huge. And why are we penalising people that can't afford that? But also, there are lots of extracurricular things that children do that comes under this fining. So if your child wants to do an audition in drama, apply to a football academy, all those kind of things. And we're saying there's only one way to be in education, and these other things don't matter. And
I'd be very surprised if the fines are being levied for an audition. It's more likely kids aren't showing up at school.
No, I've had that with my own kids. So unauthorised, my children had a chance to do something with Jamie Oliver to teach him to cook. That was completely unauthorised.
Why was that unauthorised?
Through my job as a journalist.
Why didn't you get
Because they said even though it had an educational benefit, it was outside the curriculum, they wouldn't authorise it. So in that instance,
the school refused?
I would have been fined. Well, they couldn't sign it. They couldn't say, I will sign this form, because they didn't want to set a precedent that was then going to become the norm and lots of children would be doing. But actually, the reality is it that many people?
And how much did you get fined?
I wasn't actually fined for that, because at the time, we didn't have this that we're now dealing with.
Should have been fined, Bobby?
So what I think it's all about is, what is the purpose of this sort of legislation? It's all about protecting the education of the child. And again, I'm a maths teacher, so obviously I'm going to bring some stats. So if you look at the link of attending school to educational output and attainment, it's very clear. So in Key Stage 2, so these are children aged 10, 11, if students have a 100% attendance rate, 84% of them will meet the required standard at the end of age 11. Whereas the attendance just drops down 10% to 90%, then actually 40% of those children pass secondary school.
Sir, can I ask a question?
Of course you can.
Over the course of the pandemic, children lost, I would estimate, I don't have the stat, hundreds of days of education, right, over the course of the 2 years. Because even though teachers were going out of their way to try and provide online learning, loads of children would not have been sitting there with their camera on.
Not the same quality of education as it would be in class.
I doubt many of them were taking much of it in at all. They certainly weren't going into school. As a result, we've probably got a whole tranche of children who have some anxiety about going into school. Also, they have lost out. They're not getting the tuition to help them catch up. They might be embarrassed to go into school. There might be multiple reasons, not their fault, which means they're not going to school. Is it really incumbent on us to fine their parents 60, 120, thousands of pounds?
Yeah. So the way the fine should be seen as, it's a measure of last resort. Again, as schools, we'll have conversations with parents, conversations with the children, try to get them back into the system. But if they choose to refuse to come to school, as educators, we think the best place for them to learn, to be supported emotionally, mentally and educationally is in the school.
I totally agree. It's the best place for them. But parents are also saying to us this morning, they've lost around a week of education because of strikes.
Yeah.
So,
Although, again, with strikes there, the purpose of strikes is to protect the long-term future of education.
Again, I'm not complaining
Yeah.
We
about
understand that, but
that.
we've just had a pandemic where we've lost holiday time. Also, does this apply to if family members are sick, if you want to... But we're forgetting that a lot of this stuff is about... I mean, my children are part French and part Greek. If we were to go there, they are connecting with their heritage. They're learning the language in a way that is, you know, so much more tangible and effective than being, you know, on an app or whatever. So we're not saying let's go to the extreme and everybody goes away and we become super, super lenient. But let's not fine people.
1,700 parents are
enough.
being sent to court each month. And
Waste of
on-the-spot
time.
fines have quadrupled in a single year. There must be a reason why that's happening. I would suggest it might go back to the pandemic, but it doesn't seem to be working.
But schools have to draw a red line. And again, obviously, in the real world, there's a blurry line. But as an educator, as a school, if you say, oh, actually, we'll allow you because you're going on an educational... you're just going camping, that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
We can't make those discretions. We've got to just say, if you're taking unauthorised leave during school time, there's got to be a sanction, and the sanction is a fine.
Can the travel industry not also change their pricing so that they don't hike up those prices over those holidays?
Well, they've got a captive market, haven't they?
Well, this is it, but it's completely unfair to us.
Thank you both very much indeed, and thanks for all your comments on that. It's remarkable that the numbers being sent to court each month and the numbers of fines are increasing so much.
Let's get our kids into school and get them to learn.
I think we're all agreed on that.
Right,
It's
okay.
just the way that we do it.